Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. I am Zach, and for today's show, we will be having a special segment which will be done by our special guest. What will we be doing in this special segment, you might ask? Well, we will be doing a density count. But before that, let's get into density and find more about it. But before I explain to you what density is all about, let's first imagine a box. Fill it up with feathers which are light and doesn't take up a lot of space. Now imagine that same box and fill it up with dumbbells which are heavier and takes up a lot of space. Now which of these two will be harder to lift up? Well, obviously that will be the dumbbell. But why is that? Well, that is where density comes in. Density is how much of an object is packed into a specific space. And density is the ratio of an object's mass to its volume. Density is important to measure where an object will float or sink in a fluid. Alright, now that we know more about what density is, let's get into our special segment called It's Experiment Time, which will be hosted by our special guest, scientist Alex. Take it away, Alex.
Thank you, Zach. Now that you know what density is all about, we can now perform an experiment where we can properly observe or visualize how density really works. This experiment will be called the Density Tower. It is a fun and easy experiment which you can do at your homes. It properly demonstrates how density works through layers of different liquids with different densities, starting from the highest density up to the lowest density. Now, for this experiment, you will need the following materials. Now that we have acquired the following materials needed, let us now perform this experiment. Now for this experiment, basically, we will pour these liquids into this container according to their densities. Now, let us start with honey, which has the highest density of them all. Now that we're done with our first layer, we can now proceed to a much lower density than the honey, which is the milk. Wow, look at that. Just from two liquids, we are able to see how density works by separating them and not letting them blend. Wow! Let's now proceed to a more lesser density, which is the dishwashing soap. Here we will use a dropper so it would not be messy. think that's enough. As we can see here, the three liquids still don't mix. That is still because they have different densities. Now, let's see what will happen if we pour another lesser density liquid, which is water. Take note that we used food coloring for us to be able to see if it mixes or not. Now, let me just clean this wrapper so that we can use this again. Alright, now the wrapper is clean. Let us now see if it will blend or not. Wow! Density is really amazing. As you can see, no matter how much water I put, it still doesn't blend with the dishwashing soap. Let's see if that will stay the same with our cooking oil. Alright, now for our last liquid, which has the lowest density of them all, the rubbing alcohol. Alright, that will be the last liquid that we will put in our container. Let us now observe. As we can see, we can still clearly differentiate the 6 different liquids that we have put in our container. That is because of density. Always remember, if something is denser, it will sink down to the bottom. If something is less dense, it will float up. Just like what we can see here in our container. The densest is the honey, followed by the milk, then the dishwashing soap, then the water, then the cooking oil, then finally the rubbing alcohol. Now, I hope with this simple experiment, you are able to properly visualize what is density. Now, let us now go back to my partner, Zach.
Thank you, Alex. And I hope you guys learned more about what density is from watching our show. But kids, always remember that when having these kinds of experiments, you always need to have a parent. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Safe experimenting!